DLC 5 is 100% coming out, not clickbait. DLC 5 is coming from a credible source. I'm a believer now. These two videos from the Gaming Revolution and Glitching Queen respectively seem so sure that DLC 5 is going to be a thing and that it exists 100%. In this video, I wanted to examine why they think that, and are they right to think that in the first place, using information that was presented and not presented from the actual leak. I know DLC 5 is a very divisive topic in the zombies community, but I want you guys to keep an open mind in this discussion. Please don't hate on me unnecessarily. I want to do my best to promote both sides of the argument in this video and leave you to make up your own mind on what I think is a very interesting topic. I'll be sharing my own opinion on this topic a little bit later in this video, but just to preface, I am not going to claim that it's 100% going to happen. I don't think the evidence is concrete enough to make that statement. I really wanted to make the points that I'm going to make in this video right, so unlike most of my videos, this video is going to be mostly scripted, meaning I've written it up beforehand and wanted to present it to you guys to make sure it all makes sense in the best way possible. So without further ado, sit back, relax, grab a coffee, maybe some popcorn. Remember to thumbs up the video, subscribe if you're not already, because here we go. The recent developments over whether or not there'll be a DLC 5 for Black Ops 3 has been sparked by a video by the Gaming Revolution claiming to possess leaked information that remastered maps will 100% be coming to Black Ops 3 in 2017. The source, he says, is credible and the map pack will definitely contain Moon, Ascension, Origins, as well as Mob of the Dead, all remastered. Before we get into examining the content of the information itself, let's first look at its source. I see a lot of people in comment sections on videos and Reddit saying, the Gaming Revolution is a clickbaiting liar. He should not, under any circumstances, be trusted. And while the first section of that, the clickbaiting portion, is absolutely true and he admits it himself, the second is not. In this video, I can pretty definitively say the Gaming Revolution is not lying about the leaked information he received. While he does have a history of getting things wrong, and he admits it himself in the video about the Katana and ZNS, which was more of a misinterpretation than lying, he also has a history of getting things extremely right, just like the Gorod Krovi leak, which he accurately predicted before we got the release trailer for that map. Evidence that resulted in him making the claim that DLC 5 is 100% real and exists is real and not fake. Furthermore, Glitching Queen, initially being a skeptic, was convinced in the existence of a DLC 5 upon seeing this evidence. Now, I've known about this information for a while from TGR, but it was his story to break, and the conclusion he derived from that information is admissible. The source of this leak, who both TGR and Glitching Queen are calling credible, is credible, but has made mistakes in the past. But remember, no one is perfect when it comes to this kind of thing. And the information initially comes from a developer at Treyarch a while ago. Now, this leaves two major problems when we examine the content of the actual leak. And the first is something I like to call the telephone effect. The information you guys got to hear from the Gaming Revolution is third-hand information, passed from the initial source, the developer, to the person TGR got the info from, to TGR himself, and on to you guys. This can create problems with the changing of information as it's interpreted and passed down. What was once meant to be one thing can end off to being something entirely different at the end of the line. This is my worry with the information TGR has given, not with the credibility of the sources, but with the changing of its meaning over time. This can mostly be seen in the interpretation of what maps would be included in a DLC 5. The base source indicates that Mob of the Dead, Origins, Ascension, and Moon remasters would be the case, but the second-hand source believes it could be as high as 8 maps, corresponding with the 7 alternate loading screens presented in the 7 comic book issues, as well as the alternate Moon loading screen we've gotten before that. If interpretation is already added at the second-hand level, it adds a degree of uncertainty that reflects on the initial information. If the source is not sure if there'll be 4 or 8 maps in the supposed DLC 5, how can we be sure that there'll be a DLC at all? I also find the idea that there'll be 8 maps in a supposed DLC 5 to be too crazy to even consider. While it would be absolutely amazing, I just find it as not being realistic. Now, we can point to various other factors and pieces of speculative evidence, but the transfer of information here makes me call into question the accuracy of the information itself, making it all less concrete for me. Again, I think this is important to differentiate from the character of the sources. No one here is a liar, the sources are credible. The second point I want to bring up is that of the time of the initial information. The second-hand source received the information of the leak several months ago. This creates time lag, wherein the accuracy of the information, if true when initially heard, can decay over time. Perhaps at the time the information received was correct, but several months ago is a long time. Plans could have been scrapped or content totally changed in that period. That time delay is something you have got to consider when deciding your position on this information. The Gaming Revolution has also said that the leak indicated that the DLC 5 map pack has been in development since Setsubo no Shima. I find this very hard to believe, as in the 2-month span following the release of ZNS, the Treyarch Zombies dev team would have had to completed Gorod Krovi, Revelations, which was completed by the time Gorod Krovi was released, and work on the DLC 5 map pack. That seems like way too many projects to be underway at the same time. If anything, it seems most likely that if there was a plan for DLC 5, it would have gone into production following the release of Gorod Krovi, as the Treyarch Zombies team had completed its season pass commitments at that time. I also think it's important to note the expected release date of this DLC 5 map pack if it is indeed real. The Gaming Revolution says that the map pack is finished, and that Activision and Treyarch are working on the best time to release it. While we have seen Treyarch withhold completed content before, Revelations being the prime example, I wonder how long Activision would actually sit on this massive piece of content. I've heard expected release dates from the source range from late summer to sometime this April, and that's a pretty big range. Next, I want to ask the question, does this leak make sense? To answer this question, we first have to ask why Treyarch would want to remake old maps at all, not taking into account the fans' desire for it all this time. From a story perspective, there is a lot of wiggle room here, not for remasters per se, but for remakes. This means that maps would not be exactly how they were presented in past games, but similar. We can already see this on Revelations, with the Kino stage being a great example. Similar to the original, but blatantly different in its actual layout. This leak claims that the 04 would be playable in Mob of the Dead, to fill in that bit of story after ZNS and before Gorod Krovi, when the characters are known to have traveled there. While firstly this gets me really excited about the possibility of a whole new Easter egg on that map involving the 04, it also means that the map's dynamics would have to change, both in the visual presentation and in the gameplay. As Glitching Queen brought up in her video, there will be no dolphin diving, and most optional weapons would likely be replaced with their Black Ops 3 counterparts. Origins presents another interesting idea. I doubt they would remake that map as is, but I wouldn't find it so far-fetched to think that it could be set in the same location but at a different time period, with the same general layout remaining intact. What I mean is that we saw the location of Origins at the end of the Revelations cutscene, with our 4 premise characters apparently victorious, raising the original staffs. I think that you can definitely change the setting of Origins to a medieval battle while maintaining the map's layout, with trenches that could remain but more shallow. Maybe the concrete bunkers could be replaced with tents, wooden structures, and siege implements, making the setting seem more believable while maintaining the original layout of the map. Here's some other things that we can use to examine if this leak is credible or not. The first is some comments made by Jason Blundell, and the second is comments made by Activision's CEO. But let's start with Blundell. During the Treyarch livestream in early December that announced Newton's cookbook, Jason Blundell made this comment.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I thought that might be a question, and obviously a lot of speculation and talk, and so I've got an official statement I'd like to read to you.
Okay.
I'm afraid that I can't say anything right now.
While this is vintage trolley Blundell, the content that he was talking about here was not Newton's cookbook. He was teasing something else, with information to be released later. I doubt he was teasing the 2018 Treyarch title already. so it must be something to be released sooner. And with this leak, I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that he was talking about this DLC 5. The second piece of evidence comes from Activision's CEO, who in an investor call a couple weeks ago said this: "This is the first time that we will have 3 active games with 3 different player communities at a scale with Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, and Black Ops 3. And the plan is that we're going to be driving engagement for all of those titles with great content throughout the year." From this quote, we can state that new content will be coming in 2017 to Black Ops 3. Now, if you are a believer in DLC 5, like the Gaming Revolution and Glitching Queen is, you now have all the points of evidence to make the claim that it 100% exists. We know that new content is coming to Black Ops 3 because of the comments from Activision's CEO. We can pretty well speculate that some of that content will be zombies content because of the comments made by Jason Blundell, and we, in air quotes, know what kind of content that will be because of this leak. That's a pretty compelling argument for most people, and I see the hype and opinions on the concept of DLC 5 slowly changing as a result. What was once the biggest joke in the zombies community turned into something that for the first time could be actually credible. And personally, while not 100% convinced and not willing to make the claim that DLC 5 is confirmed 100% at this time, it sure makes me excited for what's to come, and hopefully you guys feel this way too. I want to restate something I said when there was this huge controversy in the zombies community in early October, where the zombies subreddit was shut down because of certain opinions and people on YouTube were just in a frenzy. Remember, whatever your opinion on this may be, don't be afraid to discuss it, and if you do decide to share your opinion, please do it civilly. It legitimately confuses me how some people in this community can be so freaking awesome with things like EE4C, generating so much money for charity, and all the great things that this community is, but at some points people can be so vile to each other. I just don't get it. Don't call people idiots and spread hate because they have a different opinion on this issue. There are definitely credible sides to both in this scenario, guys, and I will be kind of moderating this video more so than others for people that actually want to have a legitimate conversation. Again, I am not claiming that DLC 5 is 100% confirmed like these other YouTubers are, or at least not in the form of all these remastered maps. I do think we're going to get something, I'm just not 100% sure of what it's going to be. One thing I can definitely say, and I alluded to this earlier, is it seems like the tides are slowly changing in the zombies community. I see people with comments on Reddit saying, you know, I left after Black Ops 3 was over, I have no interest in Infinite Warfare Zombies, and only now with all this discussion and hype over the possibility of a DLC 5 am I coming back to the community. Is my interest finally peaked again? And I think that's something that could be beneficial to the zombies community at large, extending into Infinite Warfare as well. But either way, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Subscribe if you're not already. Again, I know it was a little bit more scripted and wordy per se than most of my other videos. When I write up the script, I tend to use different language than just talking normally with you guys, and I apologize for that. I am working on another awesome video for you guys for tomorrow as well, 10 Easter eggs in Black Ops 3 that you might have missed. If you aren't akin to all the Easter eggs in Black Ops 3 and haven't been watching this channel diligently, I guarantee there'll be Easter eggs in that you haven't seen before. But I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you with another Zombies news video tomorrow.